Now, these ongoing legal clashes over choice stem quite directly from Trump's appointed justices. They made the difference that overturned Roe. And here on Debate Eve, it is striking to see the warnings on that very issue that came during Trump and Biden's one and only debate back in 2020.
The president also is opposed to Roe v. Wade. That's on the ballot as well in the court. And so that's also at stake right now. And so the election is already begun.
You don't know it's on the ballot. Why is it on the ballot?
Because
why is it on the ballot? It's not on the ballot.
It's on the ballot in the court.
I don't think so.
In the court. Well,
there's nothing happening there.
There's nothing happening there, is what then President Trump claimed. And he seized on that little moment of saying, well, there wasn't a technical abortion referendum. That's true. The election of Donald Trump already uncorked all these changes. So what was the larger obvious issue was what Biden was saying. If you keep adding these kind of judges, you may have a lot of laws overturned, and that's exactly what happened. In other words, elections have consequences. Trump's high court ended Roe. It has also sided with corporations and is currently delaying any possible Trump coup trial until after the election because of what you see on your screen, because of the people that then President Trump put on the court. So that brings us all the way up to tomorrow. These two candidates will face off for the first time since that debate where I just showed you a little clip of it. And for all of this talk about style and debate rules and expectations or age, there's actually one major factual reason that a lot of Democrats are bullish about Biden's chances. He has more debate experience than any living candidate in the country. Literally. You know, it's easy to forget that Biden has done more debates on the national ticket than any recent candidate. He's faced all kinds of debating styles, from Republicans to Democrats. And we've actually tried to chart the highlights for you, and they barely fit into one graphic. This is just some of the big debates Biden has done. In fact, you know what? Let's leave this up for a little bit so you can just digest it. I know the news moves fast, but we put this all together here. So we're going to leave it up, and I'm going to walk you through some of it. In the upper left, well, there's his very first presidential run all the way back in 1987, a campaign dogged by a phrase that led to accusations of plagiarism. It was seen as a big gaffe then, but that kind of claim, misusing words or plagiarism, wouldn't even make Donald Trump's top 20 scandals these days. Now, then you can see Biden has faced Democrats who went on to become the party nominee. The upper right shows him debating Obama and Clinton. If you're a political junkie, you may remember that, but younger voters and others may have forgotten or not been there for it. He has his hand up there. Now, Biden didn't win those debates, but he marked a performance that impressed Obama, leading to his national running mate debate with Sarah Palin, which you can see in the lower left, a friendly handshake there. And let's be clear, Palin was a Republican running as a supposed insurgent. She was an unusual foe in her style, like Trump, but one that Biden handled. In the middle, you see him debating a then-rising Republican star, Paul Ryan. That was the re-election race. You can see Biden looking pretty in command there. Politico, we checked. They reported at the time that Biden's outing against Paul Ryan went so well that, quote, whatever Biden was drinking Thursday night, Obama ought to order a case of it. Interesting to check the archives, because we hear a lot of talk about how Biden should be more like Obama, a very talented two-term president. That was the view then, that at least that week he had done better than the guy at the top of the ticket. So when it comes to national debates, Joe Biden has done primary debates in 3 different campaign cycles and several debates apiece, sometimes on the Democratic side. Then he did another 3 sets on the national tickets. Obama-Biden, Obama-Biden, Biden-Harris, and now the 4th, this reelect. And he's done other debates and forums as a senator. In fact, you see the photos. Now here is a bit more of his track record over the years.
The system does produce corruption, and I think implicit in the system is corruption.
Under the Reagan administration, we are leaving our children with close to a $3 trillion debt. When we talk about statistics, we're really talking about people. We are the world's last best hope. If our economy fades, will Japan take over the protection of the free world? Will our European allies do that? The answer is clearly no. We must succeed not only for ourselves, but for the world.
Their ideas are old and their ideas are bad, and they eliminate the guarantee of Medicare. It has never been done before.
It's been done a couple of times,
actually. It has never been done
Jack Kennedy
before.
lowered tax rates, increased growth. Ronald Reagan.
Now you're Jack Kennedy.
Ronald Reagan. Republicans and Democrats.
There it is, with the grin to boot. When you talk about getting up on that debate stage, it's one of those things that might look like people talking or arguing or going back and forth. And if you just pick a moment here or there, you might think how you could do it better. If you actually get up there and face the withering scrutiny and stand under the lights and feel everybody's reactions, it's a little bit different. We've heard that from people who prep for these things, the operatives and campaign chiefs who work with campaigns and candidates, and sometimes from the people at the very top, which is really only a handful each primary and only 2 each general, the people at the top who stand on that stage. And we begin our special coverage tonight with someone who's done exactly that, former Republican governor of Ohio, John Kasich. He ran for president and stood on the stage against Trump, and we have some of that coming up in a minute. But first, welcome, and your thoughts looking at Joe Biden over the years you see there. Does experience help?
Well, there's no question, Ari, because when you get into this, it's a question of getting comfortable. And the more you do it, the more comfortable you become. You know, when you're standing there for the first time or the second time, you don't quite know where the camera is. What you don't want to do is you don't want to step on what you're saying by finishing. In this case, there won't be an audience, but, you know, when you get applause, you don't want to step on your line, so you interrupt the applause. I mean, there's so many things, but it's basically, and you know this from television, you know this from sports, the more you can be yourself, the more you can relax, the more you can relax your body, your throat, your arms, the better you're going to do, because you begin to somewhat freewheel. And that's what experience gives you. It gives you the opportunity to become more comfortable, which is what is so important to project to the people that are watching any sort of debate or any type of presentation.
Yeah, that makes sense. We just looked at some classic Joe. We're going to look at some classic Kasich and Trump, because you guys did face off. We'll remind folks, let's take a look at 2016.
Come on, folks. We all know you can't pick them up and ship them back across the border. It's a silly argument. It's not an adult argument. It makes no sense.
All I can say is you're lucky in Ohio that you struck oil. That's for one thing.
We cannot elect somebody that doesn't know how to do the job. You got to pick somebody who has experience.
He was so nice. He was such a nice guy. And he said, oh, I'm never going to attack. But then his poll numbers tanked. That's why he's on the end. And he got nasty.
Donald Trump's hitting a nerve in this country. And for people that want to just tune him out, they're making a mistake. And false little things, sir, they really don't work when it comes to the truth. So the fact is, all I'm suggesting, we can't ship 11 million people out of this country. Children would be terrified, and it will not work.
Thank you. Mr. Trump, you've had a good. Let me just.
Built an unbelievable company worth billions and billions of dollars. I don't have to hear from this man. Believe me. I don't have to hear from him.
Brings it all back. Primaries are different than the general, of course.
I should have won. You see, that proves it, Ari.
What
I
does it
should
prove?
have been elected. That looked pretty good.
You feel good about it. Well, let's be clear, and I say this respectfully. At that time, in that Republican primary, he got the better of the other candidates, including you, and we saw both of your strategies there. And sometimes it looked like you rhetorically were trying to say, hey, if you're considering him, if you're Trump curious, I could still be your guy. Right, which is a certain strategy. And other times, you went right at his credibility. In some ways, that's what Biden has to do tomorrow, right? This is a close race, possibly. We don't know yet. It's many months out. But if it's a close race in some of these swing states, it's because people are looking at both these guys, and they haven't all sided with Biden. So what did you learn from that that's relevant to what he says tomorrow?
Well, I think you have to do your own thing. I mean, you could take those clips and show something, but I went on the debate stage always trying to figure out what I wanted to achieve, what I wanted to communicate. For Joe Biden tomorrow, Ari, I mean, seriously, he's got to show people that what they say about him behind closed doors in the Situation Room, where he's handling the issues in Gaza, where he's dealing with Ukraine, when they say that he's really on top of things, that he's strong, he has to prove that in that debate tomorrow. He has to show people that he may be elderly, but that he's not fragile, that he's a senior statesman and not just an elderly old guy. That's what people wonder about. If he can achieve that, in my opinion, look at
And
what
let
happened.
me slow
when
you
he-
down. I'm going to bring in. I got a bit of business to do. We got Margaret Carlson joining. The governor stays. So welcome, Margaret from the Washington Monthly.
Hello, Ari. Hello, Governor.
Welcome.
One of the great debaters of all time.
Yeah, and so the governor, I wanted to pin down the point you're making because they are both elderly. They're both above retirement age, or however you want to objectively put it. You, Governor, thought that Biden was the better choice last time, right?
Yes.
So I want to be clear. What you're discussing is from a view of someone who thinks Biden's better than Trump. You don't think it's all propaganda, that there are political, public perception questions about the age. How does he conquer that tomorrow?
You know, there was an article that said that he should take a page out of Betty White, who never got old, even though she aged. I mean, it's a matter of having a little bit of humor. It's about being sharp. It's about making your point. And, by the way, not taking the bait to be distracted by something that Donald Trump's going to say. Run your program, show people what you're all about. And one other thing, let people know that the economy wasn't so great under Donald Trump. Everybody says, oh, it was so much better. Then we'll tell the truth about that and about how Trump blocked the border reform that people want. Those are two big things. And finally, violent crime at a low. I mean, it's like, 30 years since we've had violent crime this low? Talk about those things, but don't take the bait.
Hey there, MSNBC fans. I'm Luke Russert, and be sure to join me, Rachel Maddow, Jen Psaki, Lawrence O'Donnell, Steve Kornacki, Joy Reid, and many more September 7th in Brooklyn, MSNBC Live Democracy 2024. Click on the link for ticket information. We will see you there.